Hey, Nathan, is my phone back there? Hey guys, I'm sorry we're so late. This is so like I'm so sorry. There's a we're pulling. It's kind of like a family Sunday. 'Cause, like, we're shaking off the turkey residue, and we're just kind of like just going with it, because I think I'm doing way too many things today, and I'm sorry. But I'm excited to be here. I hope did you all have good Thanksgivings? Was it really nice? Did you get to see family? Is that difficult for anyone? Seeing family? It's allowed. It's allowed. Safe space here. It's okay. It's okay. Isn't that a glorious thing, though, that we get to still love people even if we disagree? Because love isn't about agreement. Kill the top lights. Sorry. Let's get a little more moody so you're not self-conscious being really lit like I am, which is very self-conscious. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kind of used to it. It's fine. But it's that bottom panel. There we go. Is that a little more moody, a little easier? All right, guys. We're going to start with worship here. Oh, God, we just thank you so much. We're just thankful today. We're thankful for who you are and who we are and how you've made us to be, God. The intentionality of you is just so wonderful. We're just thankful for the air that we get to breathe, the people that we get to live and be with, this world that we get to step and walk in and witness the miracles all around, God. The rising of the sun and the shining of the moon and the twinkling of the stars and the roaring of the waves and the majesty of the mountains and even the glory that's in the snow that's to come. We just thank you for your faithfulness in every season, God. So we just come before you with thankful hearts, ready to just be present with you. Hallelujah. Sing higher. Higher than the mountains in our face, stronger than the power of the grave, constant in the trial and the change. One thing remains. Oh, can we sing that again? Higher. Higher than the mountains that our face, He's stronger than the power of the grave, and He's constant in the trials and the change. One thing remains, one thing, one thing remains. Come on, sing your love. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love. And on never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love in death, in life, I'm confident and covered by the power of your great love. My debt is paid. There's nothing that can separate my heart from your great love. Oh, we need to sing that again. In death, in life, I'm confident and covered by the power of your great love. My debt is paid. There's nothing that could separate my heart from your great love. Your love never fails, never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out. Oh, your love, it never runs out on me. Your love never runs out and on and on and on and on it goes. It overwhelms and satisfies. Hey. And I never ever had to be afraid. Oh, one thing, yeah, remains. One thing remains. Your love never fails, it never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love. Oh, your love, your love. Oh, your love. When darkness tries to roll over my bones, when sorrow tries to steal the joy I own, brokenness and pain is all I know. I won't be shaken, I won't be shaken. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your
chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. And this power that can break off every chain, this power that can empty out the grave, this resurrection power that can save, there's power in your name, power in your name. Oh, this power that can break off every chain, this power that can empty out the grave, oh, this resurrection power that can save, there's power in your name, power in your name. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. 'Cause my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. 'Cause my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. 'Cause my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. 'Cause my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Oh yeah, standing in your love. And I am standing on the rock, and I am standing in your love, and I am standing on the rock, my firm foundation, my firm foundation. And I am standing on the rock, and I am standing in your love, and I am standing on the rock, my firm foundation, my firm foundation. 'Cause my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love.
In my mother's womb, you formed me with your hands, known and loved by you. Before I took a breath, when I'm doubted, Lord, remind me how wonderfully made. You're an artist and a potter, I'm the canvas and the clay. You make all things work together for my future and for my good. You make all things work together for your glory and for your There's a healing light just beyond the clouds. Though I walk through fire, I see clearly now. I know nothing has been wasted, no failure or mistake. You're an artist and a potter, I'm the canvas and the clay. You make all things work together for my future and for my good. You make all things work together for your glory and for your name. You make all things work together for my future and for my good. You make all things work together for your glory and for your name. When I'm doubting, Lord, remind me how wonderfully made. You're an artist and a potter, I'm the canvas and the clay. And I know nothing has been wasted, no failure or mistake. You're an artist and a potter, I'm the canvas and the clay. And I know nothing, Lord, remind me how wonderfully made. You're an artist and a potter, I'm the canvas and the clay. And I know nothing has been wasted, no failure or mistake. You're an artist and a potter, I'm the canvas and the clay. You make all things work together for my future and for my good. You make all things work together for your glory and for your name. You make all things work together for my future and for my good. You make all things work together for your glory and for your name. When I'm doubting, Lord, remind me how wonderfully made. You're an artist and a potter, I'm the canvas and the clay. And I know nothing has been wasted, there's no failure or mistake. You're an artist and a potter, I'm the canvas and the clay. And I know nothing has been wasted, there's no failure or mistakes. You're an artist and a potter, I'm the canvas and the clay. The canvas and the clay. I'm the canvas and the clay. When I'm doubting, Lord, remind me how wonderfully made. You're an artist and a potter, and a canvas and the clay. And I know nothing has been wasted, no failure or mistakes. 'Cause you're an artist and a potter, I'm the canvas and the clay.
to the broken places, light to the darkest spaces, God. It's your nature. You bring joy to the broken hearted, hope to the ones who've lost it, God. It's your nature. There is no desert that your streams can run to. There are no ruins that your love won't make new. You tell the wasteland that it will bloom again, 'cause it's your nature. You will restore the years that shame has stolen. You keep the promises that you have spoken. I know this wasteland will be all again, 'cause it's your nature. You bring peace to the war inside us, speak, and all fear is silenced, God. It's your nature. You bring joy to the broken hearted, hope to the ones who belong to God. It's your nature. There is no desert that your streams can run to. There are no ruins that your love won't make new. You tell the wasteland that it will bloom again, 'cause it's your nature. You will restore the years that shame has stolen. You keep the promises that you have spoken. I know this wasteland, oh, will be whole again, 'cause it's your nature. Sing out, oh barren woman, sing out, oh broken man. Stretch out your hands, believing this is your promised land. Break out of disappointment, break out of hopelessness. Stretch out your hands, believing this is your promised land. Sing out, oh barren woman, sing out, oh broken man. Stretch out your hands, believing this is your promised land. Break out of disappointment, break out of hopelessness. Stretch out your hands, believing this is your promised land. This is our promised land. You are our promised land. There is no desert that your streams can run to. There are no ruins that your love won't make new. You tell the wasteland that it will bloom again, 'cause it's your nature. promises that you have spoken. I know the wastelands, it will be whole again. 'Cause it's your nature. There is no desert that your streams can run to. There are no ruins that your love won't make anew. You tell the wasteland that it will bloom again. 'Cause it's your nature. You will restore the years that shame has stolen. You keep the promises that you have spoken. I know the wastelands will be whole again. 'Cause it's your nature. 'Cause it's your nature. 'Cause it is who you are, God. It's your nature.
For I spoke a word, you were singing over me. And you have been so, so good to me. For I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. And you have been so, so kind to me. Though the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God, oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found leaving. shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Sing it again. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. And oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still you give yourself away. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. And oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still you give yourself away. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. One more time. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. And oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve. Still you give yourself away. No, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God.
Oh, Father, thank you for your love. It's so powerful, it breaks through every lie. And releases your truth. You know, church, I'm so glad of one thing. I'm glad that there is nothing in all creation that can separate us from the love of God. Nothing means nothing can separate us. They haven't invented a drug strong enough. A persuasion strong enough to separate us from the love of God. Amazing, eh? Amazing. I almost sounded Canadian just then, eh? We love you guys. Welcome here this morning. It's time for tithes and offering. You can give and also greet one another that are here and just share some of the love of God personally with someone. And we'll be back in a few minutes.
everyone. How was everyone Thanksgiving? I am definitely one who ate way too much. That was my bad. I didn't pace myself at all, but maybe I'll learn next year. Oh, well. I got to apologize to myself for overeating, really. That's the bigger issue there. But we just have a few announcements this morning we'd like to go over. One of them is the Christmas outreach. That is coming this Saturday. You can still sign up in the cafeteria with Melissa. There will be a sign-up email that will be sent this week to all those who have signed up. It'll be through Full Circle Christmas, for the Full Circle Christmas, excuse me. And that hopefully will be going out Tuesday this week, so keep an eye on it. Maybe it'll get sent to your spam folder, whatever may happen. Just look for that email. Last-minute volunteers can still attend this event and message on Facebook Messenger to Melissa so that she can give you an update on the group size. Give them an update on the group size. So for our Christmas service, we're going to be doing a candlelight service on Friday, which is, I believe, the 23rd, at 6:30 p.m. There will be no regular service on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve itself. Our Christmas Eve service will be on the eve of Christmas Eve. So that'll be at 6:30 that day. For next year, which is scary to say, we're going to have Jim Zartman coming in to guest speak. He is, I think it was Joel Hubbard. It's one of his partners with the Art of Growth. So he'll be coming in to speak that day. Come and join us for that. And lastly, we have prophetic ministry that's going to be happening after church. If you want to come and receive a word, it'll be in one of the counseling prayer rooms in this back corner over here. And that'll be led by Cindy. So, yeah, those are all the announcements. So. We'll figure it out one day.
Whoops. Okay. Hello. Woo! All right. I promise you this is not the Serena show. It just happens to be the coordination of schedules of things. So I get to share with you guys today, okay? But I'm not going to talk that long. I'm hoping to have other people be talking. So I don't know if you guys, the last time I talked, or the last several times I've been talking, I can't get off this topic of belonging, right? And how many of you have noticed that this topic has been coming up in other places all around you? Yes, right? People want to belong. There is something in the makeup of how God designed us to need others. Not just want to be connected to others, but actually need. Physically, mentally, emotionally, we need each other, right? But that comes with some complications because we're complicated people, right? Sometimes we're a little messy. Sometimes it's a little awkward, right? But anyways, okay. Whew, before I get too far ahead of myself, let me take a breath here, guys. Do y'all have a good Thanksgiving? I kind of asked that, yeah? Did you guys see family and eat lots of food? Anyone not eat turkey? Whoa, what do you guys eat? Come on. You fish? Okay. Lobster? What? I need to go to your house after next year, right? Okay. That's awesome. Lobster, shrimp. You should seafood it up. What is up with the seafood? Represent, you guys. You made your dog a turkey. Oh my gosh. So you wouldn't have any Christmas story mishaps. You just let them have the turkey. Anyone else? What did you guys eat besides? I saw a few more hands. All the sides. Forget the turkey. Give me the sides. Is that where you're at? But you don't eat it. That's for just for show. Yeah. Anyone have chicken or tofurkey? Any vegetarians, vegans, pescatarians in the house? Okay, that's okay. We see you out there. Someone had lamb? Ooh, who said that? That's great. It's a nice meat. Yeah, we did turkey. Growing up, though, so my family, you guys know I'm half Chinese. Well, some of you guys know that. So my father's from Hong Kong, and we have a Chinese restaurant, and my father used to only close on Thanksgiving and Christmas. And on Thanksgiving, since it was one of the one days he was closed, we would go down to Boston, to Chinatown, to see the rest of my aunts and uncles and my grandparents and have dinner with them. So for many years growing up, I would have duck for Thanksgiving and have a traditional Chinese meal, which I'm doing later today because my family's around and we're going down later after service. So I don't want to go past 12, okay? But anyways, it's good to hear you guys had good Thanksgivings and stuff. And how many of you guys remember my husband speaking a few weeks ago? Did you guys enjoy that, right? He's back there. Glad he's able to hang out. Sometimes our kids make it difficult. But he's here, so that's cool. He's going to be speaking again, though, next month in a few weeks. Yes, which is part 2. So if you missed part 1, it's on the stream, it's on our podcast, on the website, all that stuff. You can check it out because he's awesome, too. Okay, so today I'm kind of continuing on with my conversation of belonging. But with that, you guys remember last month we had a workshop here called Deepening Our Sense of Belonging, and that was with Joel Hubbard from the Art of Growth, who we're having his co-founder and partner, Jim Zartman, come and speak next month. But it was amazing. He came and spoke back in October as well and shared on belonging to kind of prepare us for the workshop. And then at the workshop, it just was really powerful. It was like tangible belonging happened in the room. And I know we've shared a few weeks back some testimonies of people that shared like what the experience was like to just be a part of that workshop. And it was so powerful that I was like, man, I really don't want you guys, the rest of y'all that weren't able to make it for whatever reason, or were maybe even a little skeptical, which is allowed. You can have resistance. This is like a weird thing because we focused on using the tool of the Enneagram. This is a tool that just gives language to our core motivations. And it is a really profound tool because it really helps just narrow down why we are the way we are, and also understanding why others are the way they are in a very condensed kind of way. But obviously, no two people are the same, so it's not about categorizing someone and putting them in a box. It's really about just turning the lights on of what's already there, because a lot of our personality and ego runs at such a rapid pace that it takes a lot of intentionality at first to slow down enough to notice why I get stressed or why I say yes so much to so many things and I don't realize it till I'm already in the middle of it and I'm stressed out and I'm like, I can't do it all. Why didn't I ask for help? And why do I keep doing this pattern? I should know better because this is like the 8th time that this has happened. Oh man, what is this pattern? What is this thing inside of me that says yes, 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 and has a hard time saying no, or has a hard time asking for help because I want to make sure that I am capable? There's something inside of me that says, maybe I'm not capable. Maybe I can't really do it. I need to show that I can do it. And then when I show that I can do it, then they'll notice me. Then I'll be worthy of love. Then I'll be wanted, right? It goes deep. The Enneagram has been such a profound tool. I love this tool. It is just a tool. It's complex though, so that's why talking about it a lot is easy for me because we're complex. People are complex. But one of the aspects that helps the Enneagram stand out from those other just personality, Myers-Briggs, Strength Finders, I've heard like there's number systems, color systems, all of these things. It is a tool that has been self-reporting. It was built based on people saying what it's like to be them. It's not like some doctor of psychology just like wrote down, this is what I think my findings are, the 9 core motivations of people, and da-da-da-da-da. It's really, and that's why it's such a fluid thing, and it's dynamic, and it's been described as a symbol of perpetual motion, because there's just, humans are ever really evolving and progressing and awakening more and more, right? Look how far in history, how we've just, from archaic times to like, oh man, I mean, we've come a long way from like thinking that we have to sacrifice, animals, like bloody things to like make sure God makes our fields have crop that year, right? Like, it was all this mystery of the world was so far-fetched, and then through humanity has just done, I think, a pretty good job. It is what it is. There's been bumps along the way for sure, but at least overall, there's been this progressive motion of advancement towards goodness, advancement towards love and life, and I think understanding God better and seeing that apply in just our everyday lives. Anyways, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself a little bit here. Because what I want to do today, part of what happened in that workshop was we really dived into having people share. It was a panel-based kind of workshop. We had people who were at the workshop come up and just share what it's like to be them with the reference point, the language borrowed from the tool of the Enneagram to just see what resonates with them, what doesn't, what is it like, what is their motivation, all of that kind of stuff. So I want to kind of do that. I want to do a mini Enneagram panel with y'all today, okay? And I think it's going to be really powerful because it's so cool to just hear people's perspective and just to honor their story and what it's like to be them. And I know because I experienced it, there's something about that causes your heart to just not only see them, but you feel seen through them because you understand. You can relate. Even if their story's not exactly the same, even if their wiring is totally different, there's something at the core of how God knit us as humanity, as his children, that is this resonant tone that we can understand each other if we just slow down enough and give space to understand each other. Yeah? So I see some new faces, and I'm sorry, this is like a totally unconventional Sunday, so just so you know, come back next week where it's a little bit more regular. I kind of am doing a little bit different kind of thing here, but again, I know at the core, though, it's not different in the sense that, like, we value we value community and connection, and again, that sometimes in theory it's easy to say, church is about community, we're family, we're the body of Christ, unified. It's like, really? Because that takes work, that takes showing up, it takes, it's one thing to come on a Sunday and it's easy to just, I don't want to say be a spectator because that sounds really negative, but it's easy to just attend. It's easy to just attend on a Sunday morning, and I understand it. It's the nature of the service. It's one time a week for a couple hours. We're together. The worship team, it's up front. We got practice. We got this thing. We got someone primarily sharing because of the format of a Sunday service. There are other elements throughout the week that hopefully we're finding connection, and it's easier to do the face-to-face, like deeper connections. But I do think there's space to try and incorporate some belonging, some connection in this kind of environment where it's like, the congregation and a few voices up front. Is that okay? Because we're not saying this is the formula for life here, but there is such value in it. Can I get an amen? I love my Sunday morning service, you guys. There's so much so that I spread myself too thin because it's been such a beautiful foundation for my life. And I love how I'm excited for where it's going. I'm excited for where we are and where it's going, and I just, the gathering of the saints is just such a beautiful gift that I'm very thankful for. I'm so thankful for you guys that show up, that want to be here, that want to connect and worship together and listen and learn together. It's such a beautiful thing. Okay, anyways, I'm getting way off my notes. I think belonging. Okay, yes, the Enneagram is just a tool, but it's not the generator of belonging. Obviously, where does belonging come from? Come on, Sunday school. Jesus. I was looking for Jesus. Thank you. Woo, you got that quick. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Yes, God. Belonging really comes from him, and that's what's important. So, Greg, can you hit the next slide, slide number 2? Yeah, you're already on it. So, in order for us to feel belonging on just a basic level, simmer down, we feel belonging when we are seen, loved, and wanted. Okay? Seen, loved, and wanted for who we really are, not just showing up somewhere and people see you and know that you checked in. Being loved, not just in a conditional way, but in an unconditional, never-ending way, and then wanted. Because there's one thing to feel like, especially our Christian duty, we can think that, we just got to love everybody. Just love them all. That's what Jesus did. He loved them all. But to actually want people, to actually be wanted yourself, to allow yourself to be wanted and desired by someone else. How many of you guys are married? Yeah? Or have ever been in love? What does that feel like, that desiring of another? Or more so, you being desired by another, you being seen by another. It's such a beautiful thing, marriage is, and family and that, because it's just an environment that is supposed to breed belonging. Obviously, things happen, whatever. We're people in progress, and there's grace for that. But anyways, seen, loved, and wanted. Now, belonging, there's like the three main levels of it. It's like, first, in order for us to feel belonging with one another, we got to back it up a bit, right? We have to first understand that we belong to God, right? That makes sense. It's like, because it's kind of like a pseudo community, pseudo connection. If God's not kind of in the mix in a way, like, I mean, hello, social media is just like, yeah, that's not real connection or belonging. Anyone feel like they belong in social media? Like, do you ever? No, right? It's kind of like anti. It's interesting. It's very interesting. I don't want to talk too much on that, but it's very interesting. But in order to feel that belonging to one another, it's like, first there needs to be this element of us knowing that we belong to God. Because if you have this, okay, actually, the two sides of the coin is God and yourself. In order to feel belonging with one another, you have to first know that you belong to God and know that you belong to yourself. And I think it's easy for us Christians to, okay, I belong to God, we got grace, cover it all up, God loves me no matter what. That's easy. But do you belong to yourself? There's this whole false humility thing that I know I at least grew up with that was like, you are a worthless sinner, who you are isn't good at the core, you need Jesus, and he's the only savior. That is a anti-gospel message. I don't have time to get into the whole concept of penal substitution and where that comes from, but the Father being separate from the Son and killing his own Son to save the world, it's a little different than that. And I think the gospel message has become louder than that. And it's become a realization of God himself stepping into humanity to take on the weight of sin in the world so that we would finally realize God's been after us the whole time. And he wanted us this whole time, if we would only recognize it, right? It is a love story. It is a belonging story is what the gospel is. It is God's ultimate cry to humanity. I want you, and I'm going to show you how badly I want you, that I'm just going to get rid of any separation in your mind that you would think there is so that you could finally just allow me to love on you, right? Gospel in kind of a more awkward nutshell there. So that understanding of God and the gospel is super key in being able to then belong to yourself. Because if you have this mindset that who you are at the core is evil and wrong and hasn't been fully redeemed and is beyond saving or just worthless because you're taking up too much glory and God's competing with your glory and you don't want to be prideful, it gets weird. You can't really fully see yourself because you're constantly denying yourself and trying to just cover yourself with rose-colored glasses, right? Rose-colored glasses, right? The Jesus blood glasses. It's like, no, not me, God, you. He didn't have you. And so he died to have you. He wants you, right? We know this, right? We get the gospel, right? But the actual steps it's one thing to get it in theory, it's another thing to actually accept it and live it. And I think the Enneagram has been a huge tool in helping me, even growing up in the church, even trying to just understand how does God see me as a child, as his daughter. That beautiful understanding. That's the work that I have to do in my heart. It's me accepting how he sees me beyond my experience or theories of what I was told or what I think or how I beat myself up for messing up and failing or these hurts that I have that I should just get over it, like whatever. It's like we are not good advocates for ourselves often. And I think maturity in God is when someone just has that grace to just allow, like, it's not prideful. It's super humbling when someone actually knows who they are, when they carry the identity of God and they know who they are. Not just as God's child, but as themselves, how God created and crafted them. Their interests, their habits, the way they think, the way they see the world, the way they talk, the way they relate to people, the way they work, the way they see things. It is so intentional, and it's okay. if there isn't this Jesus blood all over it. You know what I'm saying? Can we just, like, God is, his omnipresence is that present. To be inside of to be a part of who you are and how he wants to experience you as you. Right? So belonging to ourselves is a big part too, because once we know that we belong to God, that is the divine source that makes us like, it's just an unending, eternal love and acceptance that is just the fuel, man. That's the fuel right there. And then it's like, oh wow, this is how you see me, God. Okay, I'm gonna trust it. Oh wow, that's awesome. You created me to think this way and be like this. And then it's like, I'm gonna show up. Watch my mark on this world. You want me to be a world changer? Okay, God, I believe that you said that I can be a world changer. Then I'm actually gonna show up. I'm actually gonna make a difference here. I'm actually gonna be present here. I'm going to allow myself to live and be conscious of what I'm doing more so that I can see and have grace and know others more too. So that's kind of like this belonging thing. It's to be seen, loved, and wanted. Know that you are that by God. To be seen, loved, and wanted by yourself. And then we get to be seen, loved, and wanted by one another. Oops, sorry. Okay. Really quick, I kind of already touched on this, and then I want to get the panel up here. Tethered wrist. Okay, the other side of belonging, the opposite of belonging, is kind of like what we're trying to protect ourselves from, and that's where ego and personality come from. Because the opposite of belonging, what would you say it is? Rejection, yes. Exclusion. What else? What? Isolation. Oh man, these are hard words, right? Some of these are like the core fear of us, right? Anything else? What is it like to not belong? Lonely. It's lonely. It's scary, it's lonely, right? These things are hard things, hard realities that that are painful, right? Because we're not created to be alone. At the core of who we are, God said that it is not good for mankind to be alone. So I will fashion a helper, right? I will fashion another. From the beginning, he said it's not right for mankind to be alone. And he had God. Adam had God in that. In Genesis, it was Adam and God. And God somehow, I don't want to say God wasn't enough, because I think that's a limited way of thinking of it. But God saw there was something so valuable in having a companion and having someone, having another friend and having another human around, right? Wow. Because there's something in us that we're terrified to be alone because it is anti-God. It is not who we are. It is being a child of God. It is just not who we are. Yet, living this life on this earth, we have experiences that make us feel rejected, isolated, alone. Completely on the outside, right? And so what do? And a lot of this happens in childhood. Even if you have the best parents in the world, there's something, no parent is perfect, right? Amen. I need to get some of that grace on me and remind myself no parent is perfect. And it's okay. Oh, and there's grace. Okay. Okay, so no parent is perfect. And so we all have grown up as children. Often this happens when we're young. We just have experiences. Maybe it's not with parents. Maybe it's with teachers. Maybe it's with peers, friends at school, siblings, whatever, where we experience loneliness for the first time. We were picked last in the team. The teacher didn't give you a sticker, but gave everybody else a sticker. Your parents, praised one child, but not you, even though you did the more chores. That's happened to me many times. Because I wasn't a bragger. I just did stuff. Okay. So there's wounds happen, right? And we learn at a very young age, because there's something very intelligent about how we're wired, we experience rejection, and we're like, I'm never going to let that happen again. No way am I going to let the wool be pull over my eyes again. So we have these mechanisms, these patterns that we learn And often, it's a withholding of ourselves. It's a closing off of part of who we are. I was way too vulnerable. I was way too transparent with a need that I had. I had a memory come up where I remember when I was a very young kid, I think I was being potty trained. I don't even know. And this, I love my mom. My mom's amazing. But, you know, like I said, it happens to all of us. My mom, I was a really young kid. I was like being potty trained or whatever. And I was just like, it was hard. And I remember just saying to my mom, I just want you to hold me. Like I had to ask her to hold me because I was just, I needed her. I needed her hold. And I remember she did, but then it was kind of like inconvenient, I think, because there's other things going on, which is fine. So it was just kind of like, you know, it wasn't as like embracing as I needed. So I remember making that inner vow in myself to be like, I'm never going to ask my mom to hold me again. It felt like she didn't like it. She didn't want it. I had to ask for it, and she didn't even want to do it. And then it felt fake. So I was like, I'm not going to ask again for my mom to hold me. So we make these like, quick vows. Okay, so that means if I don't want my mom to hold me, that means I can't have a need to need affection. Okay, then that means I can't have a need to want someone to want me. Okay, so I'm going to shut that off in me and then not allow myself to get so deep in a relationship where I will need and desire that. All right? See how it works? And then our personality forms. And it's like, okay, no, I don't need to be needy. I don't need anything. I'm good. Let's go. What do you need done? I can do it. And if I do things, then you show me attention. Then you show me affection. And that's good. So I'm just going to do so that I can get that. And then before you know it, it's like, oh no, now I'm working for love instead of working from love. And then in different ways and how we're all wired, it can play out in different and a different personality type. And so that is the personality. That's that formation of our ego that is so immediate. And so what the Enneagram does is it slows that down. What are the patterns that you have developed over your lifetime to survive? And our personality and our ego, it's very good at making fake belonging. Because at the end of the day, if we're not fully vulnerable and transparent with what we really want and who we really are, what is getting love and affection and attention is a mask. That's not who I really am. So if they didn't like me, then that's fine. It wasn't who I really am, so that's fine. Right? Do you guys do that ever? No? Huh? Okay. So we're going to slow things down a bit. Okay, can I have my panel come up? I think I shared way long. Sorry, guys. It's just, there's lots of things I wanted to say about it. So, Greg, can you hit the next slide for me? Because I think I already talked about the Enneagram kind of in the beginning. I skipped ahead. Sorry, guys. So what is it? This is the image of the Enneagram, and just really basic here. We can, let me move this thing out of the way, and then you guys can pull those up. Beep, beep, beep. This is the mini panel. Isn't this great? These guys came up and are helping. So the Enneagram, this is the tool, okay? And there's lots of meaning behind all of the different symbols of it. The 9 numbers represent the 9 different core motivations or personality types. So, and the arrows are kind of representation of like when we go, our kind of more direct connection to those other personality types that we might take on the negative aspects of or the positive aspects of. And then the proximity of each number next to each other matters. There's a lot going on in this symbol, but I wanted you to at least see this and not get freaked out that it looks like a pentagram. It's just a symbol. Enneagram means 9, a symbol of 9, an image of 9, because there's 9 points, and every line and stuff, it does matter. Okay, next slide is, okay, these are brief, just title and descriptions of all the 9 types. I'm not going to go a deep dive into all 9. We have some of these types represented here. But type number 1 is known as the reformer, and their core need, because that's really what defines kind of the different personalities, is to be good. The giver, their need is to be needed. Those are the helpers. Those are the ones that are always there for you. The achiever, that's what I am, need to succeed, freaked out by failure. All right, type 4 is the individualist. These are the ones that need to be unique or significant. Then there's the investigator or the theorist. I like that description because they're the ones that need to understand. Curiosity is key. The loyalists, they need to be secure. They're great at projecting what are all the bad things that could happen, and let's prepare. We love our 6s. They get our stuff together. Type 7, the enthusiasts. These ones, they really, their need is to be satisfied. But these guys, they really want to avoid pain. Pain is no good, so they're the fun ones. They are optimistic. They're like, everything is fun. Okay, the protector. These guys, they have a need to challenge because they are needing to just, they have honestly the biggest hearts, but can sometimes come off as the most direct. But that's because they have big hearts for the innocent. So protectors, we love, need to challenge. And then type 9, the peacemakers, they have a need to kind of avoid. These ones, they want peace and like everything to be in harmony. So they tend to kind of avoid the conflict, avoid any stirring of the pot, and they just want that equanimity and stuff. Okay, quick descriptions. Next slide, rules for the room. Okay, so with this awesome panel, I have one type from, well, I won't go into that, but actually I will go into it. So part of the Enneagram symbol, they're kind of 3 and 9, and all the numbers kind of matter. There's like 3 sections of the Enneagram that can be divided in the centers of intelligence. There's numbers that are more in tune with their gut or their intuition. Those are types 8, 9, and 1, the 3 numbers on top. Those guys tend to be more, gut motivated. Then the heart-centered ones are the 2, 3, and 4. Those ones tend to lean more into their heart and the feelings world. And then the 5, 6, and 7 are the head center, which tend to just kind of live more in their head, logic, all of that, okay? Because do you ever notice the 3 differences in just the people around you? If we just slim it down to that, people that have this intuition to just, I know what's right, I know what's wrong, I know what we need to do, and you're just like, what? Why? Tell me. And they're like, I don't know, I just know. It's that inner knowing, right? Or they just get senses of things. It's just like, okay, I'll follow you because somehow you're seeing something I don't see. Then the feelings ones, they're the ones that are like just really relational, kind of really great at referencing others and knowing what's really going on before you even have to say anything. Those, and then the head center, those are our thinkers, those are our logic ones. So we have one from each center here. Barbara is a type 8, which is the body center. Nathan is a type 5, which is in the head center. And Catherine is a type 3, like me, in the heart center. So what I want to do is I'm going to ask a few questions, or I have descriptions of each type, and we're going to kind of walk through, and then they're going to tell me what resonates with them, what doesn't. And as we're doing this, and they're being honest and open and vulnerable, you guys are engaging with us. It's not this passive thing where we're just listening with our heads and not with our hearts and our bodies and everything, okay? So rules for the room. This is my language. We learned this from Joel at the workshop. Essentially, compassion is key. Compassion means to be in pain alongside with. It's not about fixing. It's not about praying away the pain. It is just about being with. Because sometimes you don't need someone to solve your problems. You just need someone to be with you in them. And then you find the strength to keep going, right? So that compassion is powerful. That's what we're going to do. Activate compassion. Just be along with. Judgment-free zone. Same with you guys. No judgment of what's coming up inside of you, right? No judgment of like, ooh, I can't say that. That's too shameful. Or, ooh, that feels really awkward and I don't know. Ooh, that's really mean that I thought that thought and I, judged that person like so quickly. Like whatever. Whatever's there is there. And we have to be honest with ourselves to know what's there to actually be able to grow beyond that, right? So judgment-free, I'm asking them to be, but also us to be. Yeah? Because we're all people. We got stories. And then to be present. A lot of being present, I want you to, and I'll do before we start with each person, I'll just have us take a few deep breaths to just kind of be present and it's active listening essentially is what I want, is like for you to just listen, not just with your ears and your mind, but with your hearts too. And I think that just naturally is going to happen because it's cool when you hear people share. Okay, are those all let me make sure these are all my things. Being present, offering. Oh, and then you guys, the other part of being present, because the other part I love about the Enneagram is that it considers the spiritual. It's not just a logical tool, it's a spiritual tool too. So as you're being present, there is something in the room that happens when you just extend love, extend grace, extend healing in your own heart, or extend just witness in your own heart, I should say. Because I don't want you to be praying for them as we're doing this. Is that okay? I know that's hard for some of you. Is that okay? Can you not pray for them? Let me say this. Not praying in the sense of the traditional way we're trying to fix what they're sharing. You can pray and talk to God about them, or just like, you guys, our intercessors are amazing here, so I don't think I need to say that too much, but I just don't want you to try and fix them. Just be present with and just extending your grace and your love in your hearts it's felt. It's super felt. Okay. So let's get going. And I want to start with Barbara, the body type. We're gonna go intense quick, okay? I didn't number my pages, so that's okay. We've got, next slide. Greg, please. The protector, type 8. This is a description of the type that Barbara resonates with. And again, this is not to pigeonhole her and this is who she is on the page. Not at all. We're going to read through this, and then I'm going to ask her what resonates with her and what doesn't, and we're going to see a little bit of what it's like to be Barbara. Intensity. Okay. So, the protector, type 8, their need is to challenge what they value: intensity, strength, autonomy, truth, honesty, directness, power, big-heartedness, and the innocent. Pain points, things they don't like: weaknesses, betrayal, indirectness, assuming of intentions, being stagnant, bullies, manipulation, and powerlessness. And their wound often, it can happen in childhood, but it's just the wound. It doesn't necessarily happen from your parents. It can just be your environment. But when you were young, the message that you heard was, it's not okay to trust or be vulnerable with anyone. All right, Barbara, tell me, what resonates with you, what doesn't?
I don't even know where to start. Am I on?
Oh, is the mic on?
Go, Greg, go.
Maybe it needs to be just a little closer. It might be a little sensitive.
Is that better?
Oh, there you go.
Hear me. Hi. I have to stand up because I can't sit down and talk right now. Okay, just a reminder. I've said this every time I'm up here. I seem very bold. It's because I'm shaking and I'm a little bit scared, but this is how it comes out for me. I'm actually not as bad as I have been lately. Wow, this is kind of cool. Okay, so yeah, very intense. The first time I talked to my husband here, he and his family had started coming to our church out in California, and I noticed they weren't hanging out with all of the young, cool people. And I'm like, why not? So I follow them out into the parking lot, and I'm like, hey, you need to hang out with us. And they're like, oh my God. He seriously didn't talk to me for months because he was scared to death. Luckily, I won him over. But yeah, we are just very bold and very direct, and sometimes we sound very strong, and it scares the crap out of people. So intensity and strength, definitely. When people aren't direct with me, I literally don't understand what they're saying. It takes me months, sometimes years, for me to understand what people are saying. And then suddenly it's like, oh, well, it's too late now. But yeah, if you can be direct, and I am very direct, and it scares people. But yeah, early wound. Yeah, I was bullied as a kid, and there's probably an inner vow in there that I've probably broken off, I don't know how many times, about not being vulnerable with people. Again, I will approach you, and I'll be like, hi, my name's Barbara, and then I'll hide and wait until you seek me out, because I don't know that I can trust you. I don't know that I can give you who I am. So, yeah.
All right, and then can you share a bit about, as a body type, how do you connect with that intuition? Do you feel like you're really driven by just kind of that sense of knowing?
I don't operate without it.
Yeah.
My head type told me for years about how great New Hampshire is, and I didn't believe him until we went on a road trip, and we crossed the state line, and I felt like home. I have never felt home before, but my gut said, this is where you need to be. And then I had to fight it for a little bit, because pride. But eventually I joined him in the headspace. We did some research, and we moved. That's just one example. Finding a house, walk in the house. Nope, not it. Go to the next house. Nope, not it. this is the house. Like, I have to be present with something that I'm choosing in order to know it. And I have so many friends that when they meet their boyfriend or girlfriend or future spouse or whatever, they bring me, and they're like, tell me what you think. And I'm like, think, no, feel. No, yes.
All right, awesome. So with what about some of those like the kind of like frustrations that you feel, or what are some things that really get on your nerves? You mentioned bullying. What about
Yes.
like kind of with honesty and indirect? Well, you mentioned indirectness, but what about manipulation? How does that show up at all?
Yeah. I can definitely sense when somebody's manipulating real quick, and then I don't do whatever it is that they're trying to get me to do, which makes them angry. But yeah, I'm very aware of that kind of stuff. Like, I can point that out. There's a term, they say, like the eights, they'll beat the grass looking for snakes.
Yeah.
Like, we can find who's doing what, and then we just keep that in mind as we interact with them in the future, you know? Like, it's not like we're trying to take them out. We're just like, okay, I know to keep my eye on you, kind of a thing. Was that what you wanted? I don't know.
No, that was amazing.
Weakness. It's like, not only do I never, like, if I'm ever crying, it's like just soft tears coming down, and I'm like really stiff. Especially if I'm in front of anybody else. I've seen people ugly cry. I've literally never done it because it's actually, I don't want to come across too strong, but when people ugly cry, I'm like, okay, you do you, and I can't go anywhere near it because it's, it revolts me. Like, I can't do that.
Wow.
Like, somebody else will go and be, I'm not a pastor.
Oh, sorry.
You know, like, I'm not that. That is somebody else's job. That is another part of the body. But yeah, that kind of thing, like, even when I'm weak, I appear strong.
Okay, so it's weakness in others that is a little bit hard, but also weak. Is it because of if it reflects any weakness?
Oh, it doesn't
in
happen
you?
in me.
Do you think you have any weakness, or you just have zero tolerance for being weak at all?
Other people might call it weakness, but I would never acknowledge that.
Nice.
Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
there's things that need to grow,
Yeah. Okay.
you know, but weak isn't a word that is in my vocabulary for myself.
Okay.
Does that?
Yeah. That's insightful. Because I think I'm weak all the time, and I have no problem with that. It's not nice. So it's so different.
I mean, I'm not doing what's right, you know, sometimes, or like, I'm not. I should be doing better, but weak just isn't part of that
Yeah.
vocabulary for me.
Interesting. Amazing. Awesome. Thanks, Barbara. We're going to hear more. I just want to get an overview of each type going here. And so, okay, let's do the next slide. And I think it's actually Catherine. I have the heart. Go back to the achiever. Yeah. We're going to go round clockwise. So the achiever is the type 3. Their need is to succeed. We like efficiency, momentum, image, effectiveness, making a difference, winning. We don't like pain points for us is failure, ineffectiveness, inappropriateness. That's a big one for me. Unpreparedness, being perceived as incompetent. Doing a bad job, not being recognized for our effort, or imposter syndrome. A lot of 3s have imposter syndrome sometimes. And the early wound that 3s experience is it's not okay to have our own feelings and identity because it's, whoops, I didn't edit this right. Okay, it's not okay to have our own feelings and identity because someone else is worthy of attention, right? Being kind of overlooked. And we're praised for what we do, but not who we are. So Catherine, what resonates for you?
All of it. I guess as far as values go, efficiency is 100% a thing, and momentum. Like, if I don't feel like I have momentum in my life, then I'm like, I go in a state of panic. And then winning's not as important. I'm growing. I don't care as much about winning. Failure, ineffectiveness, inappropriateness is also like one of my pet peeves. Unpreparedness, doing a bad job. The imposter syndrome is a big one too. Because then once I became aware of like myself and my weaknesses, that's when you kind of like, have I been lying to myself or to other people my whole life? So that's a big one.
Wait, go into that a little bit, because imposter syndrome, this is, I think, have you guys heard this term before? No, okay. So the kind of the pain of the three that makes the core need happen, this need to succeed, is really connected to this pain of deceit, is this deceiving of ourselves, thinking that we are something that we're not, because we've been told that we get attention or love when we are this projection of something else. And so knowing who we really are and actually displaying that and being in that is the work that needs to happen. So we're really good at shape-shifting. Threes sometimes are known for being shape-shifters, where it's like, when I'm at church, I put on this hat. When I'm home, I put on this hat. When I'm at work, I put on this hat. And it's not that any part of us is not genuine, right? Would you agree with that? Yeah. Right. It's genuine. It's just we kind of highlight certain aspects of ourselves, right? And certain appropriateness to the environment. Always reading the environment. I have that problem. So the imposter syndrome comes from, is this what I really want to be right now? Or am I just doing that because I think other people expect that from me? Right? Oh, yeah. So can you explain that experience a bit for you, where that kind of happens?
I mean, even in my career choice, like, well, I went through a phase where I'm like, do I want to be a doctor? Do I want to be a nurse? And I like thought I really wanted it because people were encouraging me to it. So it was like, I thought I wanted it because the affirmation was there. Yeah. So then I like eventually got to this realization, do I want this because it would make people proud, or do I want this because I'm passionate about this? So it's like a constant struggle of like, okay, I'm praised in this and I enjoy it, but do I enjoy it because I'm praised, or do I enjoy it because I enjoy it? So it's like, I think my like journey in life the last like 2 to 3 years has been like, what do I enjoy? Because my whole life it's like been influenced by the people I'm around, or, and that can change too. Like I've also been someone who has like 3 different groups of friends and they all are different. And so it's like, eventually you just get exhausted because you're like, okay, like,
yeah, burnout's very
you burn out
common.
Trying to be everything for everybody.
What do you think holds you from feeling like you can, like what makes that knowing of what you're passionate about hard to hear sometimes?
I'm very attuned to like people's feelings and people's expectations. Maybe not, expectations is probably one that I more put on myself. Like comparing like a competitiveness with myself along with other people, but I think knowing what people need, or like what would make people happy, and then deciding, okay, like I could choose that and make them happy, or I can choose this and make myself happy. And it's that like inner struggle of those two.
Does it feel selfish?
Very selfish, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So pursuing your passions feels like selfishness? Would you say?
Depending on the passion I'm pursuing, I guess.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, there's that context thing. It's like, depends. It depends what group of friends are.
Yeah, it depends.
It's a very 3 answer, sorry. I'm just laughing because it's such a 3 answer, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally get that. That's amazing, Catherine, nice. And then what would you say it's like for you to be so in tune with your heart and your feelings? Now, sometimes the 3, because it's like in the center of the feelings triad, we can sometimes be we're very good at shutting down our feelings for the sake of like efficiency or the context of just getting through what we need to get through. So we're not as feelings orientated, but we still have very much in tune with that. So what is it like for you to connect with your feelings and to be, you were mentioning your perception of other feelings in the room too? Like how do you tune into
figuring this one out?
Yeah, how do you think you tune into the room's feelings, or like whoever you're around? Feelings.
How do I tune into other people? That's just natural. I couldn't even like know how to explain it. It's just like you just feel what they're feeling. So that's hard for me to I don't know how to explain how that happens, but as far as knowing what I feel, that at this point in my life, and I feel like as I have grown, I get better at being aware of it when I'm surrounded by people, but usually it requires me to separate myself from people and to do something that's not intentionally not be productive, and do some like tap into what's fun for me, to slow down and rest. And then usually it's like I get almost anxiety because then suddenly all the feelings that have been like pushing down like or decide to come up. So it's
In solitude, they
yeah,
come up.
in solitude. So sometimes solitude scares me.
Wow. Amazing. Good job. Okay, more questions later, but let's get Nathan. Let's do the head type here. The type 5, the investigator. You need to understand values clarity, competency, capability, discovery, systems, boundaries, curiosity, theories, and understanding and privacy. Oh, sorry, there's a little typo there, guys. I did this at like 1 in the morning. Okay, pain points, sorry, post-Thanksgiving stuff. Lack of boundaries, carelessness, narrow-mindedness, unpredictability, ignorance, excessive neediness, and lack of resources, and sometimes people. Just people in general. It can be exhausting for 5s. And the early wound that the 5 experience is they experience love as either insufficient or overbearing, I think. So tell us what resonates, what doesn't.
Oh, some surprise here, all of it. But let's to be, I guess, more particular. Yeah, the thing about the way I operate and the way I resonate with this is that you have to very carefully control the space around you, in the sense that you can't dive deep into understanding if you're constantly preoccupied. If you want to dive deep, you have to make space around you. That's why we're very time conscious and very time conservative and very aware of how much effort things take, because you might say, I need you to do something, and we know instantly what it's going to take to do that thing, and to do that thing you have to take away from being able to do this thing. You know, if you want to be, you know, if you want to go and be leading the world in discovery on something, that's not going to happen 5 minutes a day. It's not even going to happen 5 minutes every hour of every day. It's going to happen by spending 300 hours in 1 month doing something. It's this deep, deep investment to learn.
Wow.
And that doesn't happen casually. That's why this whole like the privacy thing, and then also the pain points being people. That's what that's about. It's this, the thing that drives me and makes me happy, that I get joy out of, sometimes is directly in contrast of being available.
Wow, that's really well put. What about the early wound? Anything there that ever felt like needs were never met, or you just kind of were?
There probably is, but nothing. There's not a instance that comes to mind.
Sure.
So that's hard for me to really speak to. But I definitely, for whatever reason, I know there was a certain shift. I can be vulnerable, right? Well, and let me also be first vulnerable to say that for whatever reason, Serena has me here to represent the head types, and I started getting this growing headache start of service, and it's getting pretty severe. So if
dude,
you
I'm
do need to
sorry.
pray for me, pray for that.
Okay, we'll pray for that.
But
Sickness is allowed to be
also
prayed
being
for.
vulnerable, I was probably 3 or 4 years old and left with a babysitter that, after several months, was found out to be physically abusing me, like beating me. I know that I wasn't well potty trained at this point, and there was an incident that I think was part of it. I don't know if it was what led to all of it, but my mother said that I stuttered for years after that. And so I think going into the whole protection mechanisms, right, is that I was never afraid of being alone at the recess field, right? Like I was fully content to be alone because that's a safe place.
Wow.
And thank God I had great parents. Maybe they were overbearing at times. I don't know. Maybe. I can't think of an exact reason why I would identify my parents as being overbearing or either insufficient. But I can tell you that for my entire memory of my life, I've never been bothered by being alone. I've always been fully content to be in my own world. And that doesn't mean I don't like other people. It doesn't mean I don't enjoy conversing with other people. I had friends, but it wasn't weird for me to just be alone for a recess.
Oh, wow. So what is it like, what does belonging feel like to you? What does it feel like to be seen, loved, and wanted then?
A lot of it is about the recognition for the understanding, right? That like even as a kid, you know, I'm constantly thinking and developing understanding of the world around me. And when I would have a revelation, so to speak, of how something works, when you then share that with somebody, you want it to be like, oh, well, yeah, that is how that works. That is how that makes, like,
Right.
you know, you want that recognition that your understanding means something, or that your understanding is valued. And there's this connection there that what I bring mentally is actually accepted.
Wow. Amazing. What about you, Barbara? What does belonging feel like for you?
So I guess the picture would be like I put myself out there. I say, hi, my name's Barbara, and then I want you to pursue me. Like I'm casting a fishing line, but you have to bite. Like last week, I stood up here during announcements and I said, if anyone doesn't have anywhere to go for Thanksgiving, please come talk to me. And there were 3 people who came to our house for Thanksgiving, which fills my heart. Like, oh my gosh. I feel so alive when people like come to our house, when they want to hear what my husband has to say, when they accept the gifts that I'm offering. But a lot of people don't do that. So, but you know, the right ones do. The ones that are supposed to be there do. But so pursuing me and like, hey, here I am. Come here. You know, because if I go any closer, I push people away with my intensity.
No. Awesome. Yeah, Catherine, what is it like for you to feel belong?
If I can feel like I can be with people and feeling loved and known for just being as opposed to doing. Like not feeling like there requires an effort to feel loved, if that makes sense.
Do you
So
have a lot of those people in your life, or is it
Yeah.
just a handful, or is it like most people? Or
I mean, I'm probably my own obstacle in that. I'd say a handful of people that I would feel that way with, but it's probably due to me not giving putting myself in that place where I'm not trying to be what people need me to be. So I think it requires intentionality on my part to allow more people to be that for me.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, we only have actually, you can hold on that. I have a mic, I forget. Wow, so it's almost 12 already, and before we kind of break here, what did you guys think? Did you guys feel connected to these amazing people? Do you feel like you know them a bit more and can relate to a lot of the aspects of who they are? And again, even though their stories might be different or even their motivations different from you, because there's another 6 types that we didn't even touch on. And if all goes well, I might do this again with other types represented, but we'll see. I don't know. You guys might be like, we hated this, and you can tell Daryl. I'm not saying. Don't tell you? Okay, you can tell, I don't know. Tell Cindy and Jonathan, actually. They're safe people to tell. And that's totally fine. Feedback, I like feedback. 3's like feedback, so we can take it. We'd rather have honest feedback than like fluff, because if you give us fluff, we'll think that's true. But before we go, I just want to, can we just close our eyes for a second? And then if we could just take a deep breath in, put your hand on your chest, and just take a deep breath in. And then exhale out. Let's do it again. A deep breath in, this time noticing your heart pounding, what you're feeling right now, any emotions that come up. Feel compassion, if you feel empathy, if you feel peace or love. Then take another breath and just notice your mind and your thoughts and just the different things, the thoughts that were shared, the different perspectives, and just the understanding of one another widening and deepening. And then one last breath as you notice, just notice your body, the expansion of your lungs, the thud of your heart, the way you fall into your chair, the way your hands hold your heart, how your breath exhales with your mouth open, and just the up and down motion of your body. And God, we just thank you for how you created us, for how you wired us, God. We thank you for the intentionality of the diversity of the stories that we all carry and represent. We thank you that in the midst of individuality, there is this tethering aspect that you placed inside of all of our hearts to want to be connected to one another, to need one another, to be seen by one another, and to be loved and wanted by one another. God, I pray that you would help give us courage to belong to you, but more courage to belong to ourselves, and to process with you whatever egos or habits that we just grew up knowing, because God, you know our story better than us even, and I thank you that you're not afraid of our story. So help us not be afraid or ashamed of our story. Help us have courage to open up parts of ourselves that we thought we closed the door to forever. And I just speak grace and love in those parts, God. God, I thank you so much for Barbara and Nathan and Catherine. And God, we just pray Nathan's headache will just go right now in Jesus' name. But God, we just honor them and their stories. And we thank you for their vulnerability. And we thank you for their honesty and just the glimpse of just a little bit more about what it's like to be them, God. So we just bless them. And God, I just bless this room and this community, these friends, this family that's here. And I thank you for it. And I wouldn't want to belong anywhere else. So I'm thankful, God. Jesus' name, amen. Amen, you guys. Yeah, thank you guys. Well, that's it. Prayer team, you guys can come up. If any of you guys would like some prayer, we have an incredible prayer team that can pray for any kind of physical healing. If you have any pain in your body, please come on up. They go after that. And then, but if you just need some compassion too, these guys are experts in compassion and empathy as well. So prayer team, come on up. And then, yeah, the rest of you guys have a really great last week of November. Next week is December. Crazy. All right. Love you guys.